underlying stance is what's kind of, it's just another example of what we talk about, Nick, when we say this is the reason why the establishment don't specifically like him. They don't like him because he's kind of vulgar and they want to put a pretty face to imperialism. And the other thing is he says publicly things against the military industrial complex that they just don't think that a president should be saying. This is why such willingness in corporate media to go after him. Think about this. There's so many other presidents that do bad shit, but nobody goes after those other presidents in the same way that they go after him. They could go after Bill Clinton about all his womanizing like they go after Donald Trump, but they choose not to do that because, I mean, they're liberal media. But this article caught my eye. I'll read just a little bit and then we can discuss and close out. But regardless of whether he wins, Trump's nomination would blow up Republican support for Ukraine, says Anders Rasmussen. Now, this particular person, he's still involved. Now, he's a former NATO chief, but I think he's part of Ukrainian military force. They're going to tell me that in the article in just a second. So I'll straighten that out for you. But let me read that again, Nick, because this is really weird. And to me, this is why I wanted to talk about his arrest right before I talked about this. I almost think, because you were like, this is a coincidence, like, how is this? I almost think that the turn up in an imminent arrest is because of his stance on Ukraine and going into the campaign with that. And it got turned up even more because DeSantis took the same stance.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're going to all of a sudden start hearing arrests are all of a sudden coming for sure now. Go ahead, Nick.
And what does that say about the Ukraine position that Ukraine can win this war? What have I been saying for the last year now? The people who think Ukraine can win this war are delusional. Because Russia right now cranked up weapon production. They are firing on all cylinders, and they just got started. Russia can do this all day, son. Meanwhile, Ukrainian resistance is 100% dependent on the political position of Europe and the United States. Which one seems like more of a fragile position? Russia just needs to stall out Ukraine while already occupying eastern Ukraine? Or the Ukrainian position where the political situation where they're getting the weapons from could change anytime. So, as I said a year ago, Russia, despite the made-up objectives that the West have made up for Russia, like Russia haven't took Kyiv yet. That means they losing. I'm like, we didn't put a timetable for that. We chilling. Wait until y'all lose that political support. You guys know they already spend more than Russia's annual military budget. Yeah. Now they're protesting Europe, they're protesting France, they're protesting in Europe, protesting the United States. How long are you gonna keep this up, Zelensky? We can do this all day. You gonna win every election? You're gonna keep political will for you to get weapons? This is why the concept of Ukraine ever having a chance never made sense. Because they cannot keep this up while repelling the Russian forces, which is what people was telling you. You're not going to repel the Russian forces because you guys are not strong enough, and you're not going to win a war of attrition. So unless you want another 100,000 dead Ukrainian soldiers, do you guys know that? 100,000 dead Ukrainian soldiers? Media doesn't tell you about that, doesn't it? So unless you want another 100,000 dead Ukrainian soldiers, you need to advocate for peace. And that is the position that peace activists and anti-war people have. That Ukraine doesn't have a chance here, so we might well, for geopolitical stability, negotiate with Russia and go back to the Minsk Accords, because that is what makes the most sense. My rant is over. Go ahead, CJ.
No, it was perfectly placed. Read a little more about the article, because this to me is truly insane, but it's typical. But Anders Rasmussen, the former Secretary General of NATO, packs his prognosis for Donald Trump's campaign into one loaded word. I think President Trump will be a loser, he tells me. Let's continue. This is an ad. It is notoriously triggering term for the former president, invoking deep humiliation. Rasmussen uses it casually. Quote, His baggage is too heavy, too controversial, says Rasmussen, 70, who was Denmark's prime minister for most of this century first. Yet Rasmussen, a right-of-center politician who is now a White Shoe International consultant, remains scared of Trump. What disturbs him more immediately than the idea of Trump back in the White House is a far likelier scenario: Trump winning the Republican presidential nomination. It may seem counterintuitive to fear Trump's nomination more than his return to power, a less probable but vastly more different outcome. But Rasmussen's mind is on the war in Ukraine and what Trump's candidacy might do to sabotage it. The former NATO chief serves as an advisor, and this is the part I was saying, what he currently is, Nick. He currently is an advisor to the Ukrainian government and recently came to Washington to see members of Congress and Biden administration officials. He is lobbying them to supply more and heavier weapons to make long-term security guarantees to Ukraine. So that's what he's doing. And that guy is afraid that Trump and his rhetoric, and now we're adding DeSantis, could spell trouble for the funding of this war.
And why do you think that is, guys?
Go ahead.
Why you guys think that is? Because the people who support funding Ukraine know they do not have a leg to stand on. They've been surviving thus far by using massive censorship campaigns and avoiding debate. And you are able to get away with that during an off election year. Now imagine there's an election where American people are actually paying attention and you got one giant presidential candidate calling you guys out on your bullshit on Ukraine. Then that forces a public debate that you guys was able to avoid for a long time. Now, Bernie Sanders all of a sudden got to rebuke Trump, something that he's been avoiding for a long time. And they are sweating, CJ, because they know this debate is coming and they know they're on the wrong side. And how humiliating is it that you're going to get out left by fucking Donald Trump? They all know this is coming. That's why they're all begging for this indictment to happen.
Yeah, and that's to your point, and that's what I was saying, that this feels to me like this shit is being turned up a lot higher. I mean, I never would imagine they would even sort of arrest a president. And then when you think of the charges, like this all this fanfare about these freaking low-level charges is just to prevent him from running, and so that he's not on the platform where he's speaking this. But let me finish up this article, this last paragraph, Nick. Just by winning the Republican nomination, Trump could shatter the bipartisan front in favor of Ukraine. Just by winning the nomination, Rasmussen fears. Trump has been forthright about his views on Russia's invasion, praising Putin as a clever strategist in the early days of the war, and recently suggesting that Ukraine should have seceded Russian-speaking areas in a deal with the invader. Let me read this last part. I'm going to scroll down and read this quote. This is the quote that made the headline. Quote, "I call it a geopolitical catastrophe if Trump were to be nominated, because in the campaign, his influence would be destructive." And this is what they are definitely, or just adds to the layers of the things that they are definitely.
They're not actually used to debating shit. They're not used to debating shit. They're like, man, these elections are supposed to be who debate? Identity politics, culture war. Yeah. Trump about to call us out for Ukraine. Man, they're not used to having an actual real debate. Even in 2004. I don't know if you guys remember. I had to look back at this shit. When I was back in my history nerd shit, you had John Kerry, who was criticizing George Bush about the Iraq war, saying, "Oh man, you're not handling it. You're not handling it right." It's not that you should not fucking have an illegal invasion of Iraq. He was saying that George W. Bush mismanaged the war.
Not doing it right.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing here, where they use it's what I mean is that the conversation they used to. You know what I mean? Where the criticism is mild at best. Trump is gonna go after the jugular, saying that you guys are corrupt for this. The Ukraine is a waste. You guys are promoting. He literally said, "I'm gonna be the only president that prevent World War III." What other campaign you ever seen where presidents was saying stuff like that to each other? It was always shallow, surface shit. You know what I mean? And now the establishment.
I can see them definitely afraid of that fight, Nick. That is a fight they're going to lose. That is a fight that they're not going to win. I mean, in public perception, they're not going to win that fight, especially when inflation is going up, especially when all the you know what I mean? If you was taking care of your country, maybe this could fly. But when you're not taking care of your citizens on top of that, and then this, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm over here, can't pay my bills, but nigga, you sending money over here? Like, you get what I'm saying? So, and you know, the reason they're definitely afraid specifically of Trump, because maybe there was another anti-war, like Bernie. They're not afraid of anti-war Bernie like they're afraid of anti-war Trump. Because anti-war Trump is not afraid to go there in places, in public, on TV, like Bernie Sanders would be. He's going to go there. He's going to go to, why is NATO doing this? Why is this? You guys aren't even getting this. He's not afraid, especially if he's backed in the corner. Especially,
I can see him calling out Victoria Nuland by name. He might fuck around with Victoria. Like Bernie would never say her name.
Exactly.
Like Trump would say her name. Like, what's up with Victoria Nuland picking the Ukrainian leader? You want to explain that, Biden? They're gonna be like, holy shit. Anyway, it was very interesting to see.
That's my.
I'll tell you guys my gut instinct is, I don't think Trump is going to actually follow through on this stuff the same way he didn't follow through the first time. But even with that said, it is objectively true. Even if you believe that he will crush the Democrats with this strategy, you can hold two beliefs at the same time. He definitely doesn't believe this, but he's going to destroy him if he campaigns on this shit. We see. Electoral politics is hard to predict.